Recording in progress.
Woo,
What a
woo, John. That's a color image. Now, did you try that in black and white?
You know what? I have not tried that in black and white.
It could be interesting.
I thought at one point we talked about there's two subjects that are okay in color. Paint chips and rainbows.
Yeah, I might have said that, but I've done rainbows in black
Okay.
and white. I got one from the Iceland.
Are, are there only two trees in your photograph, or if you move your head, is there a third one?
No, there's no, just two
Cole,
trees.
Cole, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to write you up. Hang on.
Oh, we never did that.
That's a clear
Gee.
violation. Hold on. Two trees and not three. Even number. Oh, you've violated two things. Even number of trees versus odd number of trees. My
Did we tell
gosh.
people what we're going to do?
No, we should tell them. Go ahead.
Oh, well, we're going to write up a little ticket like you might get from a police officer for violating codes. And it's going to be a photographer ticket for doing things such as, well, what would some of them be?
Well, that's one right there.
Shooting in midday sun.
Yeah.
Um,
Shooting into the sun.
yeah.
Everybody's, oh, you can't do that. Having odd numbers versus and cutting your frame in half. You never should do that, right? You don't want to do that.
All the rules that you're supposed to be following.
The rule of thirds, the rule of the golden mean, the Fibonacci thing. We're going to have those all up there to make sure that you're following those rules implicitly. And if you break one,
Won't that be great? We'll be in Death Valley and we'll see a photographer out on his own, not with us. And we'll go over there. I'm sorry, sir. We need to write you up.
oh my gosh, I'm going to do that. I am going to do
That's going to
that.
be the fun part, going to people who don't know who we are and just writing them up. A $15 fine, you can pay that now, or you can mail it in.
Bring that little thing you attach on your phone and you swipe their card.
You'll be paying by credit card or PayPal. Would you like to pay? Oh,
Yeah,
that,
we,
we'll
we
have
can
a straight face.
we can set that up really easily too, because we'll
Oh,
do it with our people in our group and they'll see that we're really doing it. And then if we catch them, hey, sorry, you're within
yeah.
a 20 foot rule here and we have to cite you. I'm sorry.
Well, now I forgot. Okay. So a story. I'm speaking. I've been invited to speak to a photo group, a photo club, and we pick a date. And they say, "Oh, that's a perfect date because that month's assignment is
Oh no.
to create images in the style of Cole Thompson." And so you'll be speaking, and then we're going to have you critique and judge the images.
Oh my gosh.
So,
What was your reply?
well, I don't recall, and I'm sure I was polite, but I let them know I didn't comment about in the style of Cole Thompson, but I did
Oh,
let them know that I did not critique, that I didn't believe in that. And once they saw my presentation, they would understand that. But I must say that I think that is a terrible assignment to say, pick a photographer and then try to emulate their work. And I don't know why they think that's a good idea. I've heard some people say, in fact, I had someone write me recently say that that's how they learn. And I can't speak to how others learn, but I think it's a bad idea because one, it's not exercising your vision.
mm,
It is reinforcing this idea that if I can create images that look like Edward Weston, I can be successful. I've had people tell me that that's how they learn technique. And I'm thinking, but I believe in technique being a slave to vision. It's not the technique that comes first and then you find your vision. It's the vision that comes first and you use the technique that's needed. So, for a variety of reasons, I think it's a terrible, terrible idea. I don't see the value in learning by emulating another person's work.
yeah, point counterpoint a little bit here. Again, coming from a different path that I took. I mean, I did a lecture last night for a group, and part of that lecture, I talk about my journey to get to focusing on falling in love with my subjects, and that's really what I'm worried about now. But I had to go through that process of seeing Tony Sweet's work specifically and loving it, and then even seeing one of his images and going and asking him, where did you do that? Going to the same beach, finding the same pier, making virtually the same photograph. And for me, that process was exactly what you talked about. It was a way for me to learn to see that way. And eventually I got to the place where I didn't want that anymore. And I wanted to just find compositions on my own. I told about, Farrell McCullough going to South Africa in a previous show here a few back. and how that was an awakening that I didn't need to look through other people. But I do think there is a group of people, and we talked about it, this is interesting in a recent show about fear of failure, right? And people are afraid to fail. And we've been so conditioned. Well, I think that's part of why. Let's go create images in the style of Cole Thompson because, oh, I think I can do that. I can go look at his images and then I can create images like him and ooh, success, right? I think that's part of what's happening there. But again, I think our audience that we're trying to reach here, and I think we are, is hoping to get to a different place and to be vision driven. And at that point, there's no value whatsoever in trying to copy and look at other people's work.
Well, I think we all could probably agree, who this audience, that our goal is not to emulate what others do.
Right.
It's to be original, to create through your vision. The question is that helpful in the learning process, emulating someone else's work? And I know that we tend to all go through those phases. That there's no doubt we all did it. I did it. The question is there a better way? And I believe there is. I believe that the sooner we can convince people that there's no value, there's actually harm in emulating others, the quicker we can get onto our own vision path and seeing how we see, not seeing how others. I hope nobody believes that emulating is important because it teaches us techniques, because techniques can be learned in 1,000 different ways. So I don't think that emulating is a good technique. And I've talked about this. People who look at my images, and this often happens. They'll look at an image, and they'll say, "How did you do that?" And I'm happy to explain it, whether it be through the shooting process or through the post-processing. But they come away with that idea that once I know how he did it, I can do it. It's not the technique that made that image. It's the idea and the vision. And the sooner I can get people to appreciate that, the better. That's why I do this, because I hope I've short-circuited that 35-year learning process that I went through, and they can more quickly follow vision.
Yeah. And all of that, I totally agree. But I know from speaking to so many people, that there is this process. But I think the real salient point that you just made is, and that I've thought a lot about since you and I met many years ago, and we had this initial discussion about this, is the discussion we had kind of was, I postulated. So Cole, you're saying a 5-year-old, give them a camera and just let them go, period. Don't give them any instruction whatsoever. And that's sort of what you're saying here, right? Is the sooner I can say, or the sooner I can help somebody realize that, don't go copy, don't go look at everything everybody else is doing, just go create, be creative with that camera. And then they're following their vision from a young age, and they're not going to be distracted by all that other stuff.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. We just sent I think Oliver's 5 years old. He's in Lithuania, so we had to send his birthday present early. We got him one of those little cameras that spit out, I think it's like a Polaroid.
Instax.
Yeah.
Fuji Instax.
And can you imagine if I go over there to visit Oliver and I start talking to him about how to compose the shot and how to better, all I'm doing is imprinting my vision on him.
Yeah.
Now, I can hear people say, yeah, but there's probably these tips you could give him and his photos will be better. Better in whose eyes? I want to teach him to photograph what he sees, what resonates with him, what he's passionate about, and learn his own way to create those images. If we start kids down the path of technical and rules and learning the camera and the relationship between f-stop and depth of field, that's what they're going to tend to focus on. Yeah. And I just don't think that's the best way.
I think we should get a government grant and we should do a study. We should take a group of, 10 5-year-olds, give them a camera and just send them on their way, and 10 5-year-olds and give them arts, classes, photography classes, and then just see where they look like in 10 years.
But here's your problem. Who will judge which are the better images?
Yeah, there's another whole hornet's nest.
Maybe we'll post them on Instagram and see which get the most likes. If we're teaching kids to create images that they love, then we ought not to judge that. Now, I need to qualify this. Look, if you're trying to be a better vacation photographer, learn the rules. They're going to help. Yeah. Learn about some of these techniques and when to shoot and when not to shoot, and etc. But if you're looking to express yourself as an artist, throw that all away.
Yeah. All right, but as usual, it's fun to do these sessions. It was good to be with you, and I'm looking forward to Death Valley. We'll have to do some more recording before we head out to Death
Yes, we
Valley.
will.
And you know what? We will record live in the field in Death Valley.
Oh my
Dag
gosh.
nabbit. I mean, we always say we will, and we just
Here we
forget.
go.
I actually have the right tripod holder now, so we should be able to do it.
Okay.
We'll look forward to it. All righty, buddy. Take good care.